About 7 years ago, I had seen this video talking about a little girl who actually lived here in Zambia who had lost her parents due to AIDS. At the time I was 9, I had no clue what AIDS was, but I just saw that here's this little girl without her parents. It never really comprehended this was something that was actually happening. I never fully understood that. It made me decide that I wanted to go out and do something about it. I can't just sit around it and let the problem grow. I need to go out there and make a difference. I was encouraged to do something and just to use my favorite sport to make a difference. So I decided to start shooting free throws to represent these kids who are orphaned by AIDS. The idea of Hoops of Hope is just a basketball marathon. It's just like a walkathon, except for we're going out and we're shooting free throws instead. Yeah, that very first event was actually just me shooting hoops in my school gym. I was able to raise about $3,000. I started to realize towards the end of it, I said, this is a lot of fun. This is a lot of fun. It's a fun way to make a difference. And so I decided that, you know what, it's something that a lot of other people could do. Now Hoops of Hope has grown to over 40,000 people all across the world that have joined us. And so far we've been able to raise over $2.5 million to be able to do some of the amazing work here in Zambia.
Thank you so much. Good evening. It's an honor to be here today. My name is Austin, as you know, and I really am blessed just to have the chance to share. That's a minute and a half of my story, and let me tell you, it has been an incredible journey that God's taken us on. We've used this little idea, a free throw marathon, to be able to raise millions of dollars, to be able to build schools, hospitals, clinics throughout Africa to help bless orphans in sub-Saharan Africa. But I have to be honest with you, right? I sat back about a month ago, and I tried to think about this big idea that I'd have for you. I sat back and I tried to think, what could I offer as a 19-year-old that could leave you with this huge idea that would go out and change your churches, change your worlds? I'll be honest with you, I had trouble, right? I mean, you're some of the best and brightest minds in the world and most compassionate hearts, and you've heard from economists, you've heard from people who've been in politics and run institutions. What can a 19-year-old get up here and say that's going to systematically stamp out hunger across the world or provide clean water to everybody throughout Africa? And then I realized why God's brought me up here tonight. It's pretty simple. It's to encourage you. And so I want to do that tonight with 3 simple ideas. The first idea I have for all of us is a simple one, right? It's do what you love. You see, when I first started Hoops of Hope, a man simply asked me, he said, Austin, what do you love to do? I said, I love playing basketball. And he said, okay, well, then go play basketball for orphan kids. And the idea of Hoops of Hope was born. So today, whether you're running an organization or whether you're in a church, do what you love. Buy something better than that. Let other people do what they love as well. You see, so many times I've heard from kids who have wanted to go out and do Hoops of Hope. Kids who have wanted to go out and do their own ideas, but they've actually been told no because the church had a different idea. Why? And then someday we're going to wonder why these same students are leaving our churches. Do what you love and let others do what they love. See, one of the craziest stories for me is when I first started Hoops of Hope, I brought the idea to my youth pastor, and he simply said to me, well, we don't need another canned food drive. As if canned food drives were wrong, as if canned food drives for orphan kids were wrong. So do what you love and let others do what they love. Number 2, think like a child. If I told anybody 10 years ago that I want to start a basketball marathon to raise money for kids over in Africa, they would have thought I was crazy. It's a crazy idea, right? But people normally don't say that to 9-year-olds, so nobody did. I decided to use basketball to make a difference. But I decided to use it because I realized that my God was so much bigger than the problem. I realized that my God could use an idea like shooting free throws to make a difference. I just wanted to help a little girl that I'd seen in a video. But never once have I sat down in a room and crafted out some master plan for this little organization. Over the years, people have asked us, what is your 10-year plan with Hoops of Hope? I have to be honest with you, it's pretty simple. is to show up. For 10 years straight, I have simply shown up. But guess what? God's shown up there with me. And he has done some incredible works through this little idea. See, the same God who spoke the universe into motion, he wants to show up. He wants to show up for you each and every day. Third idea I want to leave us with tonight is don't give up. Don't ever give up. A recent IRS study shows that there are nearly 500,000 tax-exempt organizations in the United States. Of those that filed 5 years ago, exactly a quarter of them no longer file. You see, they either simply dropped below the minimum to file, or they went out of business, or they gave up. Never give up. Because according to that statistic, if you looked around here, right, that would mean that every fourth person in 5 years isn't going to be here. They actually say that that number is less for those that are in ministry. And personally, I think that's a shame. Because so many times over the past 10 years, I've wanted to give up. So many times over the past 10 years, I've been exhausted. I've been made fun of. I've been picked on for this little idea, right? I've been beat up by the world, but I never gave up because I remember the verse in 2 Thessalonians 3:13 where Paul encourages us to never grow tired in doing good. There's an amazing story in John chapter 6. It's about this young boy who Jesus uses to feed a crowd of 5,000. You see, this little boy, he woke up that morning and he took his lunch and he followed Jesus in this massive crowd for the better part of 19 miles. Right, this little boy's just walking along. Imagine as he walked down this road that the crowd started to get smaller and smaller and smaller. People started to get hungry. They were getting tired. The road is dusty and they just ventured off. But this little boy, he continued down that path with his lunch in his hand. I'm sure at some points he got made fun of. He's the only person in a crowd of 5,000 with a lunch, right? I'm sure at some point this little boy thought about just sitting down and eating it. But he didn't. He continued on. And for those that stuck around, they got to see as Jesus used this little boy and his lunch to feed nearly 5,000 people. So tonight, do what you love. If you're here and you're not doing what you love, go and do what you love. Tonight, if you're overthinking things, maybe it's time to start thinking like a child. And tonight, you might be on the edge of giving up. See, maybe you're here tonight and you've been carrying on to that lunch for a few years, for a few decades, right? Maybe it's getting really heavy. You're getting really tired. Maybe some people are starting to think that your lunch stinks, right? Continue on. Don't give up. Don't grow tired in doing good. Continue down that long, narrow, dusty road, even if you don't know where it's going. So pastors, church workers, nonprofit leaders, volunteers, donors, or somebody here just to check it out. Remember this. Nobody was remembered for the time that they almost did something great. You never know when God will use you to feed 1 or 5,000. Thank you so much.